Hey folks, we're bringing another episode of The Script is Better to ya. This week we are doing Barry Levinson's Diner from 1982.
That's right.
All right, we've read the script. John, what were your initial thoughts on this script?
So you last week told me that this is a script and a film that inspired Judd Apatow.
Yes. So specifically what he said was he watched this and he heard that improvisation was used and he was like, oh, I can do that. I can just get my friends together and like watch them and let them play. This sounds amazing.
Gotcha. Because I don't think I've been more bored. I think that nothing happened in this script and there were no stakes. There were stakes and then just everything worked out. It's like, I don't know what the point of this script was. And it reminded me a little bit of Rebel Without a Cause at some point, but things happened in Rebel Without a Cause, at least. So I wasn't a big fan of the script. I'm hoping that more comes out in the film, but initial impressions of the script, negative.
I also found the connection to Rebel Without a Cause, especially in Fenwick's character. I found him to be so much like Jim. And then later in the script, you find out that his first name is Jimmy too. And I was like, oh, I wonder if this was done on purpose. But yeah, same things. I was mightily bored. And at the end, I was like, okay, I'm going to figure out what this is about because I'm not sure. Tried to figure out like what was the main story. And it just seemed like plot wise, Eddie and Elise's, are they going to get married or not storyline? Yeah. And then just a wider net, it was like friends trying to come to terms with getting married.
Yeah. And like all the worst people to ever get married.
Yeah.
Like Eddie, oh, I'm going to test my wife or my girlfriend on if she knows football trivia. And if she doesn't pass, then no marriage. Like,
yeah.
Insane. Like, don't marry that guy, obviously.
Absolutely not. And she was a nervous wreck for like the entire script because of this. It's set in 1959. It seemed like what he was saying about that time was that when you found somebody that might marry you, you were just stuck with that person.
Yeah, I guess so. It feels like they're kind of just like stuck in whatever lives they get in general, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Boogie is a gambler and that's like a whole storyline, but he also, by the end of it, he also just falls into a job and like now that's his life for a while.
Yeah. Falls into a job, falls out of his gambling debt super easily too. Like doesn't get in trouble when like he almost gets thanked. He gets thanked after like taking advantage of two different women. Like everything really worked out for him and he at the beginning was poised to be like, oh, this guy's like cool, he's got a job, he's going to school, he's like helping with his friends, and then I was like, oh, you're the real asshole of this story.
Yeah, totally. And from what I understand, if I remember right, he was dating a girl named Kathy, then he meets Anne, and I think he's still trying to sleep with Kathy, but then Kathy just disappears. Like we just don't mention Kathy again, and now he's just trying to get with Anne.
Yeah, Kathy or maybe Carol?
Maybe Carol, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, she like gets the flu and then she's just gone.
Yeah. Maybe she died off screen.
I think the story there was that he told his friends, he bet his friends that he could fuck her that night. And then when she got the flu, he was like, okay, cool. I'm just going to take one of my best friend's wives and put a wig on her and fuck her instead.
And like trick her. And then she's okay with it because he didn't go through with it.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like, oh, well, you didn't do it, so you get points for that. It's like, excuse me? Excuse me?
That's the way it goes, Beck. You should be thanking guys when they don't technically, in a way, rape you.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And that's the second time he did that. He did that with Carol initially in the movie theater. Like,
Right.
And that whole situation, like, so he puts his boner in like a box of popcorn, and then she reaches in and touches it and like runs off like all pissed off. So okay, you sexually assaulted her, great. But then he's like, the rationalization he gives for it is like, you're so sexy and the woman in the movie was so sexy, that my boner was just so strong it like shot through the bag. And if I took the popcorn box off of my boner, you would have seen my boner. So I'm just
Hmm.
like doing you and everyone a favor. And she's like,
Logic.
"Oh, yeah, okay, for sure."
Yeah.
Is the point of that just that like Boogie can convince anyone of anything? Because that's what it felt like. Like, or is the
Yeah.
point women are stupid?
I don't think there was a point. I think
Okay.
it was just he got away with things and people like him for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so if we're talking about relationships, Fenwick was one of the only ones that wasn't in an actual relationship at all. He was kind of the single guy. He got drunk at one point, got drunk and like sat in a manger, replaced the baby. And Boogie's trying to like convince women that he's a good guy, that they should go out on dates with him, even though he's got anger problems. He's obviously got alcohol problems as well. It just seems like no one is good in this film. Like no one is good in a relationship potential, at least. Like
As far as the men go.
as far as the men go, and I don't think the women were fleshed out enough to like even tell who they
Right.
were. Like Anne may have the most personality in that she likes to ride horses, and I think she might be upper class.
Right.
Yeah. Beth is just the guy's wife. You don't know any of her likes. She used to date Boogie. And then Elise is just potential future wife. And then other people, like Mary was the one that was going to date Fenwick. She is grade 11. That's all we know about her. Yeah. So riding horses is the most we know about a woman.
Oh, but also Barbara. Barbara works on a TV show. She
Right.
was
Is
cool. She's a
she
career
linked with
woman.
anyone?
She's
Yeah.
linked with Billy. She's pregnant with Billy's child. Yeah.
Right. And like she doesn't want to actually
Be with
have
him.
Billy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, she's cool.
Career woman who wants to raise a kid by herself. I like it.
Mhm.
Yeah, the women were definitely underdeveloped. Okay, but you were talking about Fenwick as if he was a bad guy, and I was like, I love this character. I was like, I even wrote, if I was going to be friends with any of them, it would be Fenwick, because I feel like the conversations would be so interesting. Like, he keeps doing things and nobody supports him, but he's clearly very, very smart, and just people assume that he's dumb. He was the guy watching the trivia show and answering all the questions before the people on the show were. But like there are three instances where his friends just like bail. Sure, they were things that he got himself into, but it seemed that for most of the script with everyone else they were ride or dies, and with him they were just like, nah. Like when he flips the car over and nobody helps him flip it.
I mean, come on. Come on. You
It
brought
would
that on
take him
himself.
2 seconds to flip it back, and they're like, nah, you got yourself into
You
this.
you pranked being dead,
Yeah.
getting into a car accident and potentially dying. You pulled this prank, and then you're trying to get your friends to help you out. And to be fair, they did help him.
Yeah, they did, but yeah, okay, fine. Maybe that's not one. But he was left in the jail cell by his father, which I thought was like crazy, just to like
Right.
teach him a little bit of a lesson. And then his brother also wouldn't help him with a loan. It was like everyone was just like, nah, Fenwick, nah, no, no, no. I'm like, ugh, you guys just don't know. He's so smart. Like if you only knew. He's just like a little tortured, okay? I stand up for Fenwick.
Okay, yeah, yeah. He's the bad guy that just needs needs a little
Yeah,
loving to change his ways.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I do agree about the loan, especially. It showed a lot of character in him in that he's just trying to support Boogie, right? Boogie
Yeah,
has this gambling debt, and he's willing to talk to his estranged brother, whom he hates, and he's willing to do that for a friend. So that really does show some character there.
yeah. I would fully watch a movie just about him.
Yeah, I would hope that that movie had some character development and an ending, like something happening in the film, unlike this one. But yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying.
I mean, okay, so story-wise, we talked a little bit about it. Are you suggesting that it does not have an ending?
Okay, it does have an ending, but like anything can have an ending if you just end on an event.
Fair, fair. The movie just ends on the bouquet being thrown and landing on the table of all the guys. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
and so
Who's gonna grab it?
Exactly. Who's going to be the next one to get married? Because
Why
and
isn't Fenwick at that table? It's only Billy, Eddie, Shrevey, and Boogie.
because Fenwick doesn't have anyone to be with, I guess.
Well, at the wedding, he's with the 11th grader again.
Yeah. Okay. So he was like dancing, maybe.
Yeah, just left
Hmm.
out. They're just like, listen, this guy's never gonna get married, so he doesn't need to be at this part.
Maybe even the writer didn't like Fenwick for some reason.
You have to defend all your characters.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. Okay, so Elise failed the test by like one question.
Hmm.
But in the end, and initially Eddie's like, I'm not gonna marry her. But in the end,
Hmm.
he's like, you know what? She would have answered that one question wrong if it wasn't for if it wasn't for interference from Shrevey. So
Hmm.
I'm gonna give it to her and I'm just gonna marry her. But I'm like, okay, so what if she had gotten like one more question wrong? Would you also have caved? Like, I don't like that it was so close. I almost wish it was like she failed by a lot and he's still
Yeah.
like, no, I was always gonna marry her. I'm
Yeah.
just a dick.
He is just a dick. That's not the way they went. Can we talk about the gripper?
I don't even know how to. Okay, like what even is he? Is he just a guy who holds on to people really tightly?
He's a low rent Bond villain,
Okay.
like Jaws or Odd Job. And his whole thing, everyone calls him the gripper. And his whole thing is he just like not even pinches, but like grabs people, and then you can't get out of his grip.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be their big villain in the film.
And like super proud. He just goes around grabbing people. Like it's so strange.
Yeah.
I did enjoy the scene where he like convinces Fenwick that he's not going to do it and then does it anyways. But just like the fear there, I don't know. Like you're afraid of this guy who's going to like hold your arm, but you're not really too afraid that the cops show up while you're like drunk in a manger. I don't
Right.
know.
But Boogie is afraid of this guy Tank. Like I've got this gambling debt and this guy's coming after me, and like basically it feels like his life is over if he doesn't get this dealt with, if he doesn't have the money for him. And then it's resolved because somebody else pays off his debt. I think it's maybe Fenwick's father. Is it Fenwick's father?
That pays off the debt. It's
Yeah.
Bagel.
Bagel. Okay, who's Bagel then?
I
Why is
don't
his name
remember.
Bagel?
I'm pretty sure they're all named for like what they do. So Bagel eats bagels, Gripper grips, and Tank is like a big dude.
And Boogie dances. What does Fenwick do? Does he
Oh,
like?
dances. Oh my god. He dances. I was like, I don't know. Boogie has boogers. I don't know what Boogie's. He dances.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, but Bagel is definitely older, right? Because he owns a
Yes.
business and he's going to employ Boogie at the end.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Boogie's afraid of Tank this entire time because he's got this gambling debt with him. And in the instant that he learns that the gambling debt is gone, he's going to take, this is the moment. I owe you a punch, and so I'm going to knock you out. And he punches him. And it's like, you were afraid of this guy a second ago, but the moment you don't owe him money, he's just a pussy.
Yeah. He's definitely getting up and punching you back.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. Especially a guy named Tank. Like, come
Yeah.
on. Yeah, it was strange. He didn't even seem thankful. Like, he goes inside after that punch and then talks to Tank and is like, cool, like, you paid my debts. And Bagel's like, yeah, so you're going to come work for me now. And he's like, okay, I mean, I'll do it for a little bit, but then I got to move on.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what? Like, this Tank guy did seem like he was coming to, like, really fuck you up. And you were so scared to the point that your friends were asking, like, their estranged family for money to help you out to get out of this situation. Like, this was a big, big deal. And like you said, right after, punches him back. And then it's just like, yeah, okay, I'll do this job for a little bit. Like, is there no, like, moment of, like, holy shit, that was fucked?
Yeah, even a comedy these days will sometimes have those moments where it's just like, weird, that happened. Weird, that just happened.
Little
Oh,
nod.
man. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I started off the script by like highlighting so much stuff, just being like, ugh, misogyny, like whatever. And then like at the bottom of the third page, I was like, okay, so this is just the whole script. I'm just going to stop highlighting
It's
this.
just the whole. Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, I have to think about this movie as if it happened in the 60s and I was a girl in the 60s thinking like these women. Because I can't watch it or read it in a way that's like, nowadays, this sort of thing would never happen.
No, yeah, exactly. You can't think of it that way. Even like I don't even know if this is a realistic representation of 60s women or not. It just
Yeah.
seems like they are just 100% like, well, I'm just gonna get married.
Yeah. At the beginning, when Fenwick gets paid $5 to like give his date away to another guy, I was
Mm.
like, how much is that? So I was like, $5 in the 50s, inflation to 2020, it's $53 now.
Ooh,
So
okay.
yeah, which I still don't think is enough.
What's your asking price if you were to give away a date?
I mean, I hope the guy would get like $300. So I
Okay.
guess that means like $15 in those times.
Oh, no. I mean,
25, $30.
$30. That's Beck's price in the late 50s if you wanted to if
Yeah,
you wanted to trade dates.
exactly. If you want to pay somebody to steal me from them,
Mhm.
actually is how we should phrase that.
That's a much better way to phrase it for sure.
$30 is what you have to pay, and you have
Yeah.
to give me a cut.
So back to Eddie. Not
Yes.
only is Eddie doing this whole quiz test thing, but he's also just like painted as the most obvious child. For one thing, he's yelling at his mom to make him a sandwich the first time he hangs out with Billy. And you get a glimpse at his room, and it's just like a complete mess. And he's waking up at like 2 or something, or 1 in the afternoon. It's like this guy is a complete child, and he's about to get married.
Complete child. And his parents help him with the quiz questions.
Yeah.
Like, what? But I did like that his mom was like, get him out of the house. Please, Billy, like, do something with him. Like, okay,
Yeah.
mom, you've got some, like, a real perspective of what's going on because everyone else seems to be like, I don't know.
Then it was Shrevey and Beth, right? They were
Yes.
together. I just feel like they really only ever touched the surface of anything in this film because Shrevey was willing to yell and like let his anger get the better of him over missorted records in just like a completely anal sorting mechanism. Like I get it, like you want to have your things in order and that's fine, but the fact that you're just like angry that somebody else isn't following that is just it's a bit much just to start yelling at your wife. Like there's obviously underlying things here that he's like unhappy with his job or some other things are going wrong that is just never touched. This is never addressed again. And we never look deeper into anything. Beth is just like she goes off. She's going to sleep with Boogie. It doesn't happen because Boogie does his good guy thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's never gone back to.
It's strange, but I also like had notes on Shrevey being like, yeah, dude, I get it. Like, I've had people touch my records and like not put them back correctly, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah, but you're
come
not
on.
yelling at them, right?
In my head, I am. Usually
Yeah,
they're not around when I find this, and I haven't known that my stuff has been like tampered with in a certain way.
sure.
But yeah, I come back to it, and I'm like, come on. Like, for me, I'm just like, if you want to use my stuff or like unorganized something that I have organized in a certain way, if you want to like go into that area, at least take note of where you took something from, so you can just put it back in the same spot. Like, otherwise, I'm gonna have a hard time finding it later, and and like care enough about me and my
Mhm.
stuff to like learn what it is. Like, I just felt like Beth didn't love him enough to love this part of him and to respect his stuff.
I just
So maybe I'm a sociopath.
no. I mean, no. I get that you can definitely be angry about that. Just like pay attention to what you're doing.
Yeah.
But what I'm bumping up against is just that there's no context. No, we don't know anything about these people. We don't know anything about Beth. We don't know anything about Shrevey. We don't know anything about their marriage except for this one glimpse. And is there a reason why he's blowing up? Like, I get this. This is like, come on, just like put the records back in the right place, please.
Yeah.
Don't start yelling. Don't like this shouldn't be the biggest thing for you today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if it was seated like like this was like the third thing we saw of
Hmm.
her just like not respecting his stuff or something, and then he blew his gasket. It would make sense. I did really appreciate though that after when he goes and like blows off steam with Eddie at the strip club, that he doesn't even care about the stripper. He's just still so focused on the music. And I was like, that's an interesting character. Like you are in a fight with your girlfriend. This is the time to be like, yeah, I'm looking at another woman. But no, you're like, let's get this music going. And he jumps on the stage and just takes over and starts playing piano and gets the whole crowd going into it. I'm like, okay, you're just like diehard music. So I get why that was annoying a little bit
Yeah,
more.
that was a fun scene. Who was he with? Who was Trevi with at that point?
Eddie.
Eddie. So yeah, Eddie jumps up and starts dancing with the stripper.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the bodyguard is about to do something, but then the entire crowd gets into the music. And they're loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of reminded me of Weird Science a little bit when they go to the bar near the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
What did you think about this through line of Billy having to get back at all the people who punched him? So there's the
I
baseball
mean,
game that
yeah.
happened before, and all these people beat him up. And over the years since that game, when he was a teenager, he's had like a name out for all of them to beat them all up. And in the script, near the beginning, he beats one of the last people up, and then there's just one more who he eventually sees at the wedding.
Right, and then he doesn't do it, right?
I wasn't sure. Okay, is that what happens? He doesn't do it.
Yeah, I think he goes over and like he makes his presence known to the guy, but he doesn't actually punch him.
Okay, so I guess then the thing there is that like he's grown and he's come more into himself as a man to be
Hmm.
like stronger for Barbara, that now he's able to let this thing that he's been hanging on to go.
Yeah, I would say that's correct. Yeah. I
Okay.
think maybe he's grown out of everyone. Maybe he's the only one that's grown in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though Barbara doesn't want him to be a part of the raising the child and doesn't want to like get with Billy at least initially. I'm not sure. Does she change her mind a little bit near the end?
She does. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so initially she doesn't want him being a part of things. At least he seems to be the only one that mans up, right? In any way, he sees this as a responsibility and he wants to do something about it.
Totally.
I feel like if it was Boogie or anyone else, they'd be like, ah, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna trick you into thinking I'm somebody else, so that Fenwick gets stuck doing this.
That's exactly how it would go.
Then Fenwick, ever the loyal friend, would go along with it.
Yeah. But don't knock on Fenwick. I love him.
I'm not. Don't worry. I mean, his first introduction, he was punching windows. I'm like, I'm okay with this.
I was confused by that. So you're punching windows after you just sold your date to somebody else, and you're very smart, and you're a bit of an alcoholic, and you're really there for your friends. Yeah, it's just so complex.
So did he sell his date and then get her back and still have the $5?
Ooh, I don't think he did return the money. But yes, he did get her back because
Okay,
Boogie convinced him that he should.
or that she should. Like he
Oh,
convinced
yeah.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I.
That's marriage.
That's just good business on Fenwick's part, right?
Yeah. The guy rented her.
For a very short period of time, for $50, no less. I mean, that business transaction is looking a lot better now, right?
It really is.
But then he goes to the diner with the guys, and women aren't allowed in the diner. So
Okay, so what's up with that? Women
I don't
aren't
know.
allowed in this diner.
The impression that I got was it's not that women aren't allowed in the diner; it's that the guys don't allow their dates and their women in the diner because the first woman we see in the diner is the stripper.
She's not in that diner. She's in a different coffee shop.
Oh, they're in a coffee shop? I thought they went to the
Yeah.
diner after. Why would
No,
they go to a coffee shop? Like it just makes sense to go to the diner. I
it
think
does.
I think they're going to change that in the film. They're going to go to the diner
Okay.
because it doesn't make sense to go to the coffee shop. That's just why have another location? Just we use the diner the entire time. After the strip club, we're going to go to the diner. It's obvious.
Totally. We named the movie The Diner, and we're only
Exactly.
ever in it like twice.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so the question for me is, what are you most looking forward to? But I don't know if I should phrase it as, are you looking forward to something?
I'm looking forward to maybe the horse riding scenes.
Okay.
and the Gripper. I'm looking forward to the Gripper just because he's a low rent villain. I don't understand why people are afraid of him. And his thing is to grip, and he's so proud of it. And why would this be your identity?
Okay, cool. I was looking forward to the strip club scene. Just to
I
have Shrevey like do the music thing. I want to see that go from like a boring situation to a bad situation to like a party. And I also kind of want to see the movie theater popcorn scene just out of curiosity. Like I think that the idea of what happened there is silly, but I'm curious about how it's going to be shot, and I really want to see Carol going from disgusted to acceptance.
right. I'm interested to know if this is the origin of the popcorn trick because I've heard about that in pop culture in multiple places. And so I'm wondering, is this the first time that it was brought up in pop culture or if this has been like a thing before this as well? Yeah.
I remember it's in a French movie that I was forced to watch in high school called La Boom. When that
Okay.
came out.
Wow. I feel like we're kind of winding down a bit. So I did want to bring up one thing. For me, near the beginning and throughout the script, it felt like they were foreshadowing a death at some point. From the first point where Fenwick fakes the car crash, the constant talk about women being death, Boogie's troubles with his gambling. I thought like, well, this isn't going to work out. Somebody's going to die. Like maybe Boogie will be fine and that'll be okay because like some miracle will happen. He'll get his money. But if that happens, Fenwick will suddenly die. Maybe he'll actually get into a car crash. I just felt like there were these things. I know the term like women are death. Like they keep using it in different ways. I'm not sure the exact context. I know that is something that people would say. But it felt like there was something there. And then when it just turned out to be nothing, I didn't realize it was like a Judd Apatow. I know it's not actually a Judd Apatow type film,
Right.
but it was like kind of what inspired it. And so it has kind of this like that kind of feel. It's supposed to be more comedy than anything. I didn't realize that. It threw me off. So I was expecting some kind of consequences. And so I was
Yeah.
really disappointed near the end.
Some consequences. You were looking for story where there was none.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Literally
so this
none.
death thing, that's what it's got to be about.
Yeah.
They keep saying it. They've foreshadowed a little bit. I figured it out. And you get to the end and you're like, nope,
I
nothing.
mean, it goes with the whole theme of the thing. Like everyone's on the brink of starting their lives, and then it would be interesting if somebody ended their life at that point. But no, it's all jokes and fun.
Are you ready to see if the movie itself is all jokes and fun?
This is going to be another one I'm going to call the film has to be better than the script. There's no
I,
way that the script can be worse than the film. So I am ready for this, and I am excited to watch this film. If for no other reason, then it has to be good.
I agree. Let's find out. Time for our mid-episode question break. And John, you are the recipient of the question. With the world the way it is, and us seemingly being in 3 pandemics at the same time, one virus, the other social. Yeah, the other one social.
What's
And
this social
political.
pandemic?
Black Lives Matter,
Oh,
and political.
yeah.
Trump, all of it's the world is horrible right now. It is a disaster. So
Yeah, no, I get it.
in light of everything being a disaster, I want to know what your favorite disaster movie is.
There can be conditions on that. Like when I think of disaster movie, I could bring up zombie movie because that would be kind of disaster movie. But I'm just gonna go with the simple, the easy. It's barely even a disaster movie. They stop disaster from happening. Can I choose Armageddon?
Yes, and I felt like you were going to.
Yeah, I think I have to choose Armageddon because it was, I believe, like late 90s, right? Or maybe early
Yeah.
2000. So it's got me at an age when I was young, and so I'm gonna like things a lot. I'm gonna look back on it nostalgically. But it also has I Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith, which was great.
Great song.
Liv Tyler's fun before she was an elf.
Before her most famed role as an elf. For
She
sure.
did do that for a long time. Like she was famous though before she was an
Yeah.
elf, right?
Yes.
I guess she was like a teen. She did her teen thing, and then she, like the main thing that I would remember her from, besides an Aerosmith video, was Empire Records.
So good.
Yeah, Empire Records is great. There are people who have not seen Empire Records.
Ridiculous.
I know. So yeah, it's
But
got
also has actor famed for Hudson Hawk, Bruce Willis.
yeah, definitely. It has Bruce Willis. Oh, and Hudson Hawk, like such a great film, right?
So good.
Yeah, definitely.
This is gonna be our running thing. Like,
every episode we're gonna talk about Hudson Hawk.
Yes. From now on.
And we'll never actually do Hudson Hawk. But only because we can't find the script. Can we find a script for Hudson Hawk already?
I mean, let's try.
Let's try. Yeah. And then it has like a bunch of other great people. I'm going to forget names because I'm just bad with names. But, what's his name? Like, there's one that I should especially know. Not Ben Affleck, of course. He's not one of my favorites, so I'm not going to name him.
Yeah, the guy that was in Con Air, the creepy.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm trying to think of. Steve Buscemi. I got it. I got it before I brought it up. Okay, I got Steve Buscemi.
Amazing.
Yeah, Steve Buscemi. It has Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah, he's the president, isn't he? Or no. He's not the president. He's at NASA.
Right. He's like the one who directs it. It has a bad rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It has a 38%.
What?
Yeah. Still favorite disaster movie.
For sure.
Yeah. Great cast.
Michael Clark Duncan, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Amazing. Owen Wilson, I forgot he was in it.
Really? Is he?
He's one of the astronauts, yeah. He's like a cowboy one, I think, isn't he? Or maybe not the cowboy.
Sure.
Yeah.
And this was when, like, I didn't even know who Michael Bay was when this came out. And
Michael Bay, I had no idea.
Yeah, like this is when I actually liked Michael Bay movies. Like I didn't even know who Michael Bay was, but I liked some movies that Michael Bay had done. And now Michael Bay does a bunch of stuff. And I'm just like, I'm not into this, Michael Bay. He does Transformers, right? Stop doing Transformers.
Yeah, fully.
Just stop it. Like The Rock. I really like The Rock. That was great.
So good. Okay, sweet. Anyway. Well, let's get back to this week's episode. We just finished watching Barry Levinson's Diner. So, John, what are your initial thoughts on this movie?
I don't even think it's possible to have such a turnaround, such a different opinion about a film than the script that it came from. I think that while I won't say that this was necessarily a masterpiece, it was such a stark in a good way, difference from the script. I really enjoyed the film, and I think there were so many layers that the script just did not have.
And we watched the same film?
Did you? You really hated the film? Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was very much the script. Like, I just watching it, I was like, yeah, this is like sticking to it pretty tightly. I noticed some of the improv stuff, and I saw like a couple establishing shots that weren't in the script, and I was like, okay, that's not how that went. That's a little bit different. And I really did like the cast, so that like gave it a little bit more life, but I wasn't by any means like, oh, this has a story where the script didn't. I just found that they were both kind of flat for me.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited to find out like how you got to your decision now. Okay. So why don't we start at the beginning? I know it didn't start the exact same way as it did in the script. How did you feel about that?
Okay, in the script, they start right with Fenwick punching windows, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, well, okay, it kind of like established coming in, like going into the actual dance hall, you saw people dancing. The first note I want to have is just like, it really looked like none of these people knew how to dance. It was just like, at least they could do moves, but none of them, there obviously wasn't any music playing, and they just put the music in after because none of them were on any kind of beat that I could tell. They were just moving, and there was music playing, and you could, like, literally out of, like, if there were 50 people in that hall, not a single person stepped on a beat.
Hilarious.
I was like, who are these people? How could they get, yeah. Anyway, it's obvious that they just put in the music afterwards, and they're just like, dance. And they, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm
And there was,
surprised even for those scenes they wouldn't have just like a click track that's just like this is 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of thing, just
yeah.
like going that they could just take out.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just like in the 50s, people don't dance well, so
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. And then we followed Boogie down into the basement, and they got to Fenwick, played by Kevin Bacon.
Amazing.
And the thing I found funny about this scene, and this wasn't a difference, but they did not mention this in the script, and I feel like again this is just they're being victims of their circumstances. Uh, the windows are very small and they're very high, and so while I was reading the script, I was picturing him like standing in front of like a full-size window and just like punching the window, and he was really cool. In this, it looked like he really had to struggle. He had to jump and hit the window that was really high up, and it was a really small window. Just thought it was funnier than it was dramatic or impressive the way it was in the script.
He did look like a little bit of a wiener, and from the script I thought he was like this super tough guy that was like misunderstood, you know?
Mm.
And in this you're like, oh, look at you having a temper tantrum.
Yeah, exactly. He's doing it for a laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you feel about Kevin Bacon's portrayal in general?
I liked him. I did. I mean, in the script, like I said, I did get him as kind of like a rougher guy that was misunderstood. In this one, he was a little bit more like jokey and kind of like sarcastic the whole time, and always had a smile on his face. But like even when things were shit, and I thought that was kind of fun. I just liked watching a young Kevin Bacon. I did.
Was this before Footloose?
It's gotta be
Right.
1982 when it's Footloose. 1984 actually. Diner
Okay.
is before Footloose. His name in Footloose is Ren, so just saying.
What does that mean?
Well, his name in this is Fen.
Oh, okay. You think they just wanted to keep it simple?
Okay, no, but this is kind of weird because looking at his IMDb right now, the next movie his character name was Kenny, so Ken, and then the one after that was Dennis. So it went Fen, Ken, Den, Ren. Just saying.
Nice.
Anyways, I digress. So seeing Kevin Bacon was a treat, but then also Mickey Rourke. I didn't realize it was Mickey Rourke until right now looking at the IMDb page. So like in real time, this shocks me. I just thought it was like some super cute dude that didn't have a career after this movie. Lo and behold, he did. He just had a different face.
Yeah, exactly. He definitely looks a lot different than the Mickey Rourke we know today. And this is the first time I've ever seen young Mickey Rourke, pre-wrestler, where he like in wrestler and just in life in general, to me he seems like a big goon at this point.
Yeah.
And here he's like like a heartthrob more?
Yes, absolutely a heartthrob. Absolutely a heartthrob. His hair alone should be like given another credit. It was so nice. He had this like huge bouffant all the time. I was like, what is this? This is great.
Well, he's a hairdresser, right?
Yeah. My girlfriend was like,
style.
what's with his hair?
She was all about it.
No, she said it sucked. I was like, yeah, it's totally the worst. I love it.
Yeah. You're just like, how can I get the style?
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Oh man, but yeah, I think he just acted well. It doesn't make me want to watch a Mickey Rourke film at this point, but at least it makes me appreciate him in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Despite him getting like accolades for The Wrestler and whatnot.
Right.
Well, lots of other good actors in this though, lots of other fun ones. You already hinted at one. Daniel Stern.
The Wet Bandit? Is that who that is?
The Wet Bandit. Yeah, that's right.
Shreddy?
Obviously he does comedy roles after, but he was kind of like, this was kind of more of a mix of comedy and dramatic role I found for him.
Yeah.
Despite everyone that we mentioned, I think for me, my two favorites, I think it's because they have the most improv chops, were Steve Guttenberg as Eddie and Paul Reiser as Modell. I just found that them playing off each other with the roast beef sandwich and their dynamic with getting rides home, just like, this is the funny. I really liked them.
Yeah. And all of those scenes weren't in the script, though. That was all like improv for sure, right? Like
100%. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Was Modell in the script?
If he was, then there was he had a different name, because not that name for sure.
Right? Okay. So I feel like that was like, oh shit, Paul Reiser's available. Let's just throw him in. We don't have lines, so just go.
Maybe, eh?
Maybe not, but like it just seemed like it.
Maybe that's the whole him not having a car. Like he's the only one without a car. Maybe that's a thing. He's just like, I'm an afterthought. Just like, can you give me a lift home? He didn't even ask for the lift home. I love that. Those interactions are so fun.
Mm-hmm. So there weren't that many to talk about, but there was one female actress that I recognized. Beth was played by Ellen Barkin. Did you recognize her?
No, not off the top of my head. Like I don't recognize the name.
Yeah, I feel like if you saw a picture of her now, you'd be like, oh, that's a woman whose name I never knew, but she's in movies that I've seen, kind of thing. But yeah, like right away, I was like, oh my gosh, she had a career when she was young. As did, I'm sure, a lot of famous actors that are right now, but I've just never gone back to watch any of that stuff.
Yeah, probably. It's true. Okay, if we're going to talk the women's role there, we should probably bring up the other women in the film. I think the one I want to talk about the most.
Is it Carol?
Is it Carol? Carol was the one who was with Billy, right?
Was with Boogie in the popcorn.
Boogie and the Popcorn. No, that's not who I want to talk about. I want to talk about Elise. Because Elise, despite being so critical to the film, because it's all about Eddie wanting to get married, like one storyline is all about Eddie, whether he's going to marry Elise, and she has to take this test. She literally does not appear in the film. Like, Beth could have played Elise as well. Ellen Barkin could have played Elise as well, because you don't see Elise. Until the end of the film, you see nondescript back of Elise's frame in a wedding dress as she throws the bouquet. And that's the only time you see this woman whose voice you hear at one point off screen and who plays such a central role to motivate the characters and whatnot, just never appears.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. I thought it was like halfway through the script, I was like, wait, did I see Elise and I just missed it? And then eventually I was like, oh, this is like a bit. This is like a gimmick.
Yeah. It really came off that way.
No women are allowed in the diner, and no women are allowed in the movie either.
Well, look, they would have cast Elise, but then they couldn't have had Paul Reiser, so
right.
they had to invent a new character for Paul Reiser, so Elise couldn't be in it.
Elise was Paul Reiser. He was just like throwing his voice.
Yeah, he's that good. He's that good. He didn't get double credit though. Then you have, like you said, Carol. How were your feelings about Carol?
In terms of the casting, sure, great. I don't recognize this woman, but she was lovely. She did a great job with what she was given. What she was given was not great, and I was looking forward to the turnaround of like, oh my gosh, Boogie, you made me touch your dick, and now, like, you're gonna tell me that it's like not a big deal, and you're gonna convince me otherwise, and then I'm gonna agree with you. That whole arc, I was like, no, it was way too fast, and what he was saying was such bullshit. I was hoping that there would be something more when it was filmed, like they would add like maybe one more line or one more like something, but really it was just all about his charm and that he was like so good looking and suave that it didn't really matter what he said. I feel like he could have said the whole time, like, I was doing this and all my friends were watching you, baby. You should, like, be happy that I did this. And she'd be like, oh, okay.
It was a full theater, too. I assumed when reading the script, I would be like, they're at the back, there's only a few people. But no, packed theater. Mm-hmm. They have to, like, walk over people to get out.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, though, like, her hand goes in for popcorn and she knows right away what it is. I feel like if my hand went into a popcorn and there was something that wasn't popcorn in there, I would, like, look into the box and be like, what is that? She just immediately was like, oh, no, it's a dick.
There's some Junior Mints in here?
Yeah.
The other thing I thought was funny is they really milked that scene. I felt like we're trying to build the tension here because he set it up. And it was like quite a few handfuls before she got to the surprise.
It's true. It's true. But it was also subtle. Like, again, I was watching it with my girlfriend and she was like, what just happened? Why is she running out? Like, right. Oh, because he put his dick in the popcorn. And she's like, when? Like, yeah, it wasn't, they didn't really film a lot of that process. Like, you saw his hand kind of undo his pants. And then from like above, you saw him like readjusting.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if everyone would have understood right away. until she kind of left, and they talked about it afterwards.
It's true, but
And how she's just like, it pushed the flap? I'm like, oh my God, his story is ridiculous. And you're just like, oh, you must have a super penis. And then the whole Boogie doing what he did to Beth thing, too. Like, he's so charming. Everyone's just like, yeah, okay. We did talk about that in the script, about how, like,
totally,
he just kind of gets off and gets his way and, like, whatever, isn't really ever in trouble when he is in trouble.
Yeah.
But the Beth one was, like, really hard for me. Like,
of course.
She gets in the car and he's like, put this on. And just, like, shoves a wig on her head. I'm like, oh, my God. How is he not making you feel worse than your husband feels right now? Or than your husband makes you feel? Like, come on.
Yeah. Well, he's masking it in concern, right? If anyone sees you, they'll just think you're Carol.
Yeah.
So that they won't know that you're having extramarital sex.
Yeah.
Boogie was not a stand-up guy. It's a good thing he never became a lawyer. Oh, man.
He was never in school. Like, when did he go to school?
He always talked about being in school.
Yeah. Oh, maybe because it's Christmas holidays.
Oh, right. Yeah, it is Christmas holidays. And then we have two other female characters, right? We have...
Barbara.
It's Barbara. Yeah, you're right. Barbara. I don't feel like there was any firm resolution to that storyline in the script or in the film. I did like the dynamic that they were just friends, and then they just one night it just happened. It was never like I don't even think there was any like real sexual tension between them at any point. And then just one night they had sex because maybe it was convenient, maybe some other reason. And now this is laid on them, and she's trying to deal with it. And he didn't come off as bad to me as he did in the script, Billy, as being like deadbeatish himself.
He seemed to be a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But still, I like that she had her. She was barely a character in the script, to be honest. And in the film, you don't really get to see much of what's going on. But it's great that she was focused on her work, even when he's trying to like pressure to talk about this thing that is weighing on both of them. Yeah, she's firmly taking the decision in her own hands. But again, like the film just didn't explore it enough for it to be a great representation.
Totally.
And then Anne on the horse.
Anne Chisholm of Chisholm.
Yeah.
What the hell is that? She was great.
She was great.
She only had the two little scenes, but I thought she was great. She was very captivating on screen. She kind of put him in his place. I wish she had been like, get the fuck away from me, based off everything else he did. But I guess it's okay that he found love in the end too, I guess.
I don't know what draws her to him in any way.
Oh, you have a horse too? Okay.
Yeah. Where'd you get the horse? Are you renting the horse? I feel like if that is a relationship that goes forward, it will not last long, but good for both of them.
Oh, and also though, Eddie's mom, I loved her in the script, even though she only had that like kind of two scenes, but I loved that she was like fed up with Eddie and what he was doing. And when Billy arrived, she was like, get him out of the house. I enjoyed that. The scene where she's like shoving a knife in her son's like face, being like, I'm not going to make you a sandwich. And he's like, what are you going to do? Stab me? And he like eggs her on. I thought that was such a fun scene.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a fun dynamic, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like this happens often?
I do. I feel like the only reason that she like caved though was because Billy was there. I feel like normally she's like, I'm not making you a fucking sandwich. Goodbye.
Yeah. I did like that she makes such a dramatic big deal of it, and like he's an asshole and it's stupid that he's doing this. But I like that she's like, it was a big thing, and then as soon as she caves, she's like, Billy, do you want something? No, it's no trouble at all. It's all good.
Yeah. He's like, no, I'm good. And she's like, are you sure?
Yeah.
What did you think about the random movie quote guy?
I don't know anything about this guy. I don't know why he was there. Yeah. I don't know if there's supposed to be some special meaning to him. It seemed so pointless.
So pointless.
Yeah. I feel like that may be a theme of the script, if nothing else.
And the fact that Eddie references him and he's like, yeah, kids these days, they're so crazy. I was like, way crazier than we were. I'm like, this is what like way crazier than you were is? This guy who's like so obsessed with this movie that he can only speak in movie dialogue.
Yeah, and he's pretty creepy. He
So
comes up
creepy.
behind people and starts quoting these films, or he just sidles up in the middle of a conversation.
Yeah.
They were definitely weird kids that you always grow up with, who have these things, and they're awkward in how they interact. And I could see this person. I could see growing up with this kind of kid.
Totally.
Yeah,
There were
yeah,
just like little weird one-offs like that though. Too, the other one was the guy eating all the whole left side of the menu in the diner. Like this is just like a weird like we're just gonna add this guy and we're just gonna have the group of guys comment on the food that he's eating. Just for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes. It has nothing
they're
to do with the
excited.
rest of the story. It's just that
Yeah.
he's gonna eat all this food and they're gonna be like, wow, look at him go.
Wow.
Wow.
Wowee.
I didn't know I could do walk-in.
Next, you'll bust out your Arnold. Oh no.
It might be more Chewbacca. I don't know.
Arnold could have played Chewbacca. Chewbacca got jacked between these films. He went on steroids.
I thought what was nice in the film, we did just mention how Boogie kind of was never in trouble. I did like in the film when he pulls up next to the car and he learns that he has lost this bet and lost all this money and he has a freak out in the car and slams the steering wheel. I was like, oh, okay. So this guy does feel stakes a little bit. Like
Yes.
like things do hit him. Because in the script it was like, yeah, that's okay. I'll figure it out. I'll get the money to you. Whatever.
And that was one difference too from the script to the film, right? He gets beat up at one point, right?
Tank came to see him at the hairdresser at the salon
But
in
did
the script
he
as well.
bring him outside and like punch him a bunch?
I know he roughed him up. I don't know if he did it outside though in this alleyway. And I was surprised watching it happen that Boogie went with him. Like you owe this guy money and he's like, let's go outside. And you're like, yeah, okay. I'll walk with you into this alley.
I guess it's one of those things. If you don't, it'll be worse for you.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. But then at the end, he gets his debt paid off and he has the guts, the balls, the stupidity to punch this guy. Like you were afraid of this guy, like straight up afraid. And he would have done something to you had you not paid off that debt. And you're just like, I owed him for beating me up earlier.
Yeah, well, there is that thing in it where they do just like settle their debts. Like Billy was settling his debt with the guys who beat him up when he was younger. It's like nobody
was
gets
Billy,
off.
yeah.
Maybe it's just a theme with these guys where it's like everybody gets even.
Everybody gets even. Yeah. Well, Boogie's dumb.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna get even with him one day.
Maybe it'll be Ann Chisholm.
Maybe, or Beth.
Yes, Beth. Beth should do it.
Just in general, this is kind of a note about the film in general. I felt maybe it's because of the dancing at the start. A couple of years ago, for the first time, I actually watched the movie Grease. I felt like this had
I'm sorry. Whoa. I'm sorry. What?
I
A
watched
couple years
Grease
ago for the first time?
Yeah, I don't think I had ever watched Grease before. Like I knew the music, some of the music, but had never actually seen the full movie.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, I hated it. I really hated that film.
What?
Yeah, I thought it was so bad. But I found that this had at times a Grease vibe if you just took away all the women. Like, you know how Grease kind of like you had a focus on the women and they're growing up and they're coming of age, and you had a focus on the guys and they're growing up and they're coming of age. It was just like the guys half, right?
Yeah, and instead of in like sunny California, it's in Baltimore.
Right, yeah. But I could imagine like somewhere Elise is singing like tell me more with all her girlfriends, and you never get to see that scene because we're watching Paul Reiser try to eat a roast beef sandwich.
I really enjoyed that Shrevey took the sandwich in the end.
Yeah, for
Not
sure.
if you're gonna eat the sandwich, then I'm gonna eat the sandwich.
Yeah. I was trying to. You know how there are dynamics in friendships, how like some people are the leaders? Like it felt like Boogie was like the obvious leader of the group, and maybe Billy as well. And then I felt like maybe if anyone else, like Shrevey would be like a cool third in charge maybe.
Okay. I feel like Modell, like Paul Reiser's character, is like he's like the one in the back who actually is like running the show, but he's just like not taking any, like doesn't need the title sort of thing.
Right.
Does that make sense? Like, yeah, like
sure.
he's just, it seems like he can get what he wants and mold people a little bit as well, but he just doesn't care to do it.
Yeah, it's true. Don't say what you want. People will eventually just give it to you.
Yeah. Okay, so the story of Eddie having this test for Elise and getting married, that was very much the same. That didn't change at all. I was excited to see the focus on the Colts and how that was going to be kind of depicted on screen and what we were going to see. And when we see Billy go and wake up Eddie and you see his bedroom, there's like one or two posters of like Colts things like above his bed, and like that's it. I was like, this guy is obsessed. I thought it was going to be like Colts bedspread, Colts like wallpaper, Colts everything everywhere. And it was just like, yeah, I mean, like I like football enough to like stake my marriage on it, but not enough to have any memorabilia at all.
Yeah, he was supposed to be that Jimmy Fallon character
Yes.
in the Red Sox movie for sure.
Yes. The fever pitch.
Fever pitch. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And Drew Barrymore is the Elise character then.
Yeah. Again, she is a whole other movie, like you said.
Yeah, for sure. If you don't mind, I want to get on to why I actually like the film, because so far I don't think beyond the roast beef sandwich, and I don't even know what else, I don't think we've painted a very great picture of this film.
Right.
But there is a reason why I like this.
Okay, please tell me.
Yes, I will do that right after the break. No. Right now. Right now, that's what I'll do. So I just felt like there was a subtlety and a nuance to what they were doing in this film. There was a nuance and a pain. Yeah, that are lost in the script. And that you needed the actors playing each scene to see the hopelessness and struggle they're going through. Because we get the scene where like Shrevey is selling TVs, right?
Right.
And you know, we've all had dead end jobs where we like, I have to deal with this person and this is so boring and everything. But I do feel like I think all of their lives, and like not only Shrevey's but Eddie's as well, like going out to the diner all night and then sleeping until 2:30 in the afternoon because like he stays up past 4 a.m. in the diner. It's just all of these things. And especially Fenwick's drinking, like you don't get any explanation of why he's drinking all the time, early hours, or why he just does nothing with his life, despite how you noted in the script how he's actually kind of smart. It feels like they're all coming to grips with the fact that there is no meaning to life and that their lives they're going to be these things for the rest of their lives. And they're not going to necessarily amount to any big goals or big dreams. They it made me not in any way respect Shrevey for the way he treated Beth, but it made me see like these records, these are the only things in your life, and so this is the only thing you're excited about. And like when somebody messed with that, then everything came tumbling down because you have a shitty job, you're not communicating with your wife, that you can't communicate with her, you hang out with your friends, and you having these records are the only two things in your life. And when somebody messes with one of them, then your life sucks. You realize that.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. For me, I'm like, are you ascribing meaning where there is none, or is that actually in the script or in the movie?
I mean, maybe I'm building that up myself, but I felt.
You felt it was there.
I feel like the scenes justify that interpretation.
Right.
And the acting justifies that interpretation, but.
Cool.
It was never explicitly said. It's just like, why does Fenwick act the way he acts, right? Why, like, at one point he's just drinking, staring at the nativity scene, and later on he's freaking out that the kids stole the baby Jesus.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm doing this practically naked, sitting in the little, what is it, basket or whatever.
You know what? This all makes a lot of sense, actually, because, like, it's called Diner, and I feel like we both didn't understand that because they spent the least amount of time at the diner. But it is, like, despite how shitty our lives are, we have this one, like, respite from that where we all get to laugh and we all get to leave our lives behind and just, like, joke around and eat sandwiches. And things are light there, and that's where life is good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It doesn't bode well for Shrevey and Beth's relationship, which we never get any resolution to.
No. That's a mistake that I want to point out that I made in the script portion of this. I thought that it was Shrevey who went to the strip club and got the music going. So I thought that was like the conclusion of that. It was like he was so mad about his records and loved music so much, and then he went to the strip club with Eddie and like got the band to play, and you could see like this guy just loves music so much. This makes sense why he would get everyone as excited about it as he is. But that was a totally different character. It was Billy who did the music thing, which I thought came out of left field. I'm like, why is Billy doing this? He never mentioned music before. His whole thing was being a father and getting back the guys that punched him when he was younger. Now all of a sudden he's a musician. Just thought it was like random, like introducing like a big character thing, like very close to the end of the film. That's on like 103 of 111 pages. Like I'm like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah, little did we know that as a side story, it's not in the script or in the film, but we're just supposed to understand that it's happening, that Billy is going through a Groundhog Day situation. So he's played this day out many, many times and has learned to play piano, just like...
And he's figured out what to say to make Barbara keep the baby and stay with him. Wait, is he that character?
Maybe he is.
I think it is.
Maybe this keeps happening to him multiple times in his life.
Yeah. He is the person who like arrives in this town that he does not live in. So everything checks out.
Everything checks out, yeah. Yeah. You know, I liked Groundhog Day more.
I love that movie.
It is a fun one, right? I wanted to put a button on the whole Shrevey and Beth argument.
Yes.
It never got resolved, but Shrevey really comes across as someone who doesn't, even though he's dealing, I think that there's this underlying pain that they're all dealing with in their own ways in the film. I do feel like he comes across as someone who has no empathy in any way, because he's like, these are my problems. And in no way does he at any point in the film try to have a conversation with Beth about anything that she'd be interested in. She's like, he's just complaining about how the fact that she doesn't have conversations with him about music and asks him what B-sides are or the flip sides. Right. And you're just like, she was trying to talk to you at the beginning about things when you were driving along, and you were just having basically none of it. So I really feel like you don't have
a leg to stand on.
Yeah, exactly.
They did have a little bit of a resolution, though, at the wedding scene when they're dancing together. And he says, like, do you want to go away on a vacation? And she's like, oh. And he's like, and you look very beautiful. He says something about her looks, and she feels, like, noticed for the first time.
Okay, I missed that. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
So it happens at the wedding.
Nice. Wrapped up nicely.
So I was most looking forward to the manger scene and just Fenwick in general, and I want to say it did not disappoint. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was so funny that he undressed and was almost like his boxer briefs were like white or whatever. So when he was in the manger, it kind of looked like a little bit of a diaper, and he was just there like the baby Jesus. I thought that was really funny. Kevin Bacon is Jesus, is what I'm trying to say.
Kevin Bacon, yeah, 6 degrees of Jesus.
Yeah. What were you most looking forward to?
Oh, I don't even recall at this point.
Yeah. I think just praying that the movie would be more exciting than the script was. And it was for you.
It definitely was, yeah. I'm not going to like go out and recommend this movie to everyone, but I think that it was good enough that people would enjoy it. Some people would enjoy it at least.
Yeah. I also really loved the music in it. Just like Blast from the Past, the whole soundtrack was amazing.
Yeah, I just wish people could dance to the music.
So the movie ends as it does in the script, where the bouquet is tossed by a faceless Elise, and it lands on the table of the main 5 guys. Somebody's missing from that table, so Fenwick's not at that table, and I was like, why? But also, Eddie's at that table, and he just got married. I'm like, why are you looking at this bouquet like, oh shit, one of us is going to get married. You are married. I thought it was a weird moment.
Was Paul Reiser there too?
Paul Reiser, so yeah, Modell, Shrevey, Boogie, Eddie, and Billy.
They really had to cut a lot of people out of things just to put Paul Reiser everywhere, eh? Probably to the betterment of the script or the film in general, but he's just taking up space that other people would normally be in. Yeah. Aesthetically, it wouldn't look good with 6. So Kevin Bacon, Fen, you're out. Sorry. Yeah. I think that we have to mention. I don't know if you watched through the final credits, but they have.
Yeah.
So good, eh?
Like, wasn't I just thought it was like a cute conversation, but I wasn't really paying attention to what they were saying.
Neither was I, for sure. I just thought it was a fun idea. You know, it's better than, like, I think this is like years ahead of all the cartoons that would do extra, like Pixar generally would often have like extra scenes in their credits, or would have like fun things going on in the credits. And then, you know, Marvel movies would always have the post-credit scenes. This was fun. This was before all of that, and it was just like them having a conversation. I mean, it was very true to what the film was, to the characters were, and it was a great bonus.
An unscripted conversation too, so more improv there. That was cool.
Paul Reiser shines again. In the end, this was a Paul Reiser film that other people cameoed in.
It really was. Okay, well, I guess we're able to make our decisions then, yes?
Yes.
Which one did you like better?
Beck, I preferred the script. I just thought the script was tighter. No, I like the film a lot better than the script.
Yeah, I did too. I like the film better for sure.
Nice.
If for nothing else than the cast.
For sure. It was well cast, and this was probably an early role for most of them, right?
Yeah. All right, cool. So what are we doing next time?
Beck, we're going to do a horror.
Yay.
The Babadook.
Okay, fun. Let's do it.
All right.